All right, welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and I'm taking a break from putting together my analysis video for The Last of Us Part 2's trailer. And also, I gotta hurry up because in 30 minutes there's going to be a whole buttload of information released about the gameplay. Today is Outbreak Day for The Last of Us, so a lot of information is going to be coming out. Anyway, let's get to this video in particular is going to be broken up into the introduction, which if you want spoiler free, we'll discuss that, and then we'll discuss the leaks for the finale, which are going to have some fans furious. And it's official. I'm going to say it's official enough to where it's definite spoilers, and I will let you know before we get to that point. But kicking it off, we're still having an overwhelming amount of fans, obviously, interacting negatively online, anywhere from Twitter to Facebook. I did a whole video reading 20 minutes worth of angry fan comments on social media. Fans are just not interested with this season. Again, if you go to the newest comments, you have a lot of fans. We're not going to go through them. You can go through them on your own if you want, but there's just not a lot of fans happy with this. I saw one good comment, one positive comment, and that was on Facebook. Some of this is awkward, though. I guess this is they're going for this technique where it's found footage, and part of me wonders. Now, I'm not watching the rest of this season. I watched the beginning and then I stopped. Part of me wonders if this has to do with budget. Like, is this an issue where they actually save some of their budget doing it this way? Because the sound's terrible. Even the camera quality's terrible. You don't have to get it perfect even when it's blurry and out of focus and stuff like that. Some of that stuff adds to the found footage. So, it works. I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks it's probably has something to do with the budgetary thing. Anyway, Facebook's the same way. A lot of people really upset about this season, and I will comment. These are the two newest posts. I will comment. I really did dig the potential with this fight scene. It's in episode 15. I am curious how the hell love taps on a stick. This is getting ridiculous. When Morgan first showed up with the stick and when he was piercing him with a little bit of a tapered end, I still had a problem with it because it's a skull. Skulls don't rot like flesh rots. It's still hard underneath to some degree. So with a taper and he's going in the eye and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, whoop-de-whoop. But it's getting so bad that he just love taps them. Bap, you're dead. Bap, you're dead. With the stick. Barely any effort. Bong, you're dead. What is this show, man? And it's getting worse and worse with the Morgan and his stick. Now, I love Lenny James. I want Morgan's character to just be phenomenal and get the best writing and the best story, but it's just not happening. And then with the sticks stuff, that pulls me out of it because it's so stupid. It's just like a bop, and it's anyway. So, but I saw the potential in this scene, and it just makes me wonder why this wasn't done in one steady frame like Daredevil's Netflix, where he's fighting up the hallway. One steady shot. Knock it off with the found footage crap. One steady camera angle, no edits through. Well, you have edits, but it's cleverly placed when people get too close, or they do edits where for a moment, for a split second, the camera lens is covered up by something, either a character too close or a vehicle, like if they're passing by vehicle or wall. Anyhow, the potential in the choreography here had a lot going for it, and I think it's just a shame. This kind of reminds me of, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but this kind of reminds me of The Walking Dead Season 10. But the spoilers, the leaks, we won't get into the details just yet. I'll save that for the people who want to go, but if someone is just kind of curious, the leaks will reveal, it will have something to do with Sherry, so if you're interested in Sherry and Dwight's storyline, there will be something with that. Also, a reveal with a Grace character. I had to write it down because I forget if Grace was even in the show when I stopped watching. And then one of the moments at the end that's going to really piss off fans has to do with Morgan. Now we're going to get into the actual leak details without spilling all the details to keep some things kind of out there. I pretty much have an idea of every little bit, but we're going to leave some things. What is with... I just noticed his shirt. What is this? Okay, that's a plaid shirt. For a second there, it looked like somebody had put really neat dirt designs, like, oh, put dirt straight here and straight here and straight here. Anyway, it's a plaid shirt though. Anyway, so if you don't want the actual details, get out of here now. We're gonna dive into that. I'll give you a couple seconds, because in case you're washing dishes or something, I've done that before where I'm doing something and then I gotta come back to it. Anyway, so the Sherry thing, I don't really know if I could say much about it, because there's not much I could say without coming right out and spoiling it, but let's just say it'll have to do with not her presently, but you will hear from her, put it that way. And then when it comes to the Grace, I don't know if this even matters, but I guess right now the gimmick is people think she's going to die of radiation, and I guess the only hint is, it might be something different, which... I'm way out of it, so I don't even know what that has to do or who it relates to. You'll know when you watch it, but yeah, it's not like a death fear. I think they pranked us with Alicia. Well, I wasn't watching then, but they pranked fans with Alicia possibly dying because of radiation. That didn't happen, so I guess she's gonna be like the double prank of, oh, we thought it was radiation, but it was just this. Now for the pissed off moment for fans of Fear the Walking Dead, especially fans of Morgan. The finale is going to, or may end with, a possible Morgan death cliffhanger. What's even worse, I won't give all the details, but what's even worse is when I heard of it, I thought, wait a minute. That sounds familiar. That sounds oddly familiar. There's no way that's right. It has to do with a confrontation with this person. I will not tell you if it's a vicious bitch slap, if it's a stab with a knife, or a slice with a machete, maybe a gunshot, maybe a machine gun, maybe a watermelon, maybe an apple gets thrown at his throat. I'm not going to reveal that. However, it has to do with the confrontation with this lovely being with a key on her shirt. And I'm like, wow, that sounds so familiar to Rick's cliffhanger death injury in season 9. Are you shitting me? So he, apparently, the very end, he gets injured. He's near death, and walkers are just inches away from gobbling him up. And boom, cut to black. Really? There's no way. There's no way they would have the balls to just rip off, which is one of the biggest criticisms. Fear the Walking Dead has done this a lot, even in good seasons, even in storylines that fans were interested in. There was this sour taste in some of our mouths because we're getting the same stuff over and over again. But then when you take a character that is real similar and storyline that is real similar to something we've already gotten and it's poorly done, it's like an overload of, what are you doing with this show? What are you feeding us right now? And that's part of some of the biggest problem with Fear the Walking Dead. When it's not working and you're regurgitating what we've already seen, what we've already been through, it's as if, and there's no way this can't be the case, but it's as if they're sitting in the writer's room going, what did fans like before? Let's do that again, but different characters and slightly different storyline. You know what I mean? Even taking stuff from the comics in the past, okay, I get it, which I was totally against. They stole a really good moment from, it was Sasha's death from the show, but it was real different. And I liked the way they did it. not Fear. I like the way they did it in the comic, and I wanted to see that come to the show. But because Fear did it exactly like the comic, the show couldn't do it. So they had to switch it up a bit. When it comes to a cliffhanger to one of the most controversial seasons, not controversial as in pushing the envelope of discussion in fan bases or yada yada yada, not like that, not covering, hard topics, hard issues, not controversial like that. Controversial as in so many fans are through the roof, frustrated, annoyed, and at their ends wits with this season, and you pull something like potentially a Morgan death cliffhanger. Again, if I'm wrong, this video probably will not age well, and I'll sound like an idiot. That's fine. I'll leave it up anyway. But two things. One, from the sound of it, maybe when I see it, I will be like, oh, shit. You know what? I dig it. I like what they were going for. That's beautiful. I dig it. But from the sound of it, you just copied what you did with Rick, which is odd because it's Morgan and Rick. Rick left the show and Morgan. Does this mean, or is this possibly a sign that he might be interested in leaving the show? Hear me out a second and then I'll wrap this up. Imagine if Morgan is unsure, the actor, unsure if this was a smart idea, and he wants some debating power. They can leave it as a cliffhanger. I'm not sure if I'm returning next year, blah, 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 blah. They'll leave it as, let's leave it as a maybe Morgan dies cliffhanger. Because if Lenny James don't show up and don't want to show up and he's just done with it and he, isn't coming back, that's going to be an awkward transition from one season to the next. So if Lenny James doesn't want to come back, they could just write it off, and depending on how it's done, that was his death. So, I don't know. I, for one, think it's so odd and such a silly choice to almost copy a cliffhanger moment that in the show, the main show, it wasn't as bad because we got the episode the next week. For Fear, it's a season cliffhanger, seasonal one. And it's with a character that you either think, oh, maybe he is, trying to leave the show, or you're in the camp of, when I first heard this, I was thinking, well, that's the dumbest ending ever because we know he's not going to die. There's no tension. There's no suspense. You're just left in a permanent state of frustration all throughout the break. Especially at the end, coming at the tail end of a poor season. Imagine that sour taste in your mouth where you're like, if you're this fan who's thinking 100%, there's no tension or suspense. I know you're not going to kill him off. It would be so stupid to start the season and kill him off. So yeah, you're going to start the season and he's going to come out of this somehow, get rescued somehow, maybe introduce a new storyline through this or new characters through this. I just think this is a low effort way to end the series for this season, and I do partially feel like it's either A, there's no way he's going to get killed off, because this is one dumb way to do it. What is he going to be, alive for 20 minutes in the first episode of next season? And two, maybe this is potentially he might leave, so we got to kind of leave it open to, if he stays on the show, we can go this way. If he wants off the show, we can go this way. So you guys put your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. You let me know, and keep these spoilers to yourself just in case they end up being real. Thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Spoilers. Who gives a fuck? This season sucked anyway. No one gives a shit.